Chapter 921. I'm fine. Maybe I'm too tired from putting away the clothes. Looking at Xing Menjing adjusting the temperature, Ling Qinyu kept rubbing the corner of her clothes to calm herself down. She asked, Yao Yao, did Ling Xiaoxue ask you anything? Or say something strange? No, she's very enthusiastic and kind. She often asks me questions. I'll introduce you guys to her someday, and then the three of us can go out and play together. Xing Menjing blinked. She was a little puzzled. She always felt that Ling Qinyu was a little strange. She seemed to be very interested in Ling Xiaoxue. No, I mean, how should I say it? Oh, actually, I just wanted to ask if she had, that. Ling Qinyu was so anxious that she was sweating, but she couldn't say it directly. What? Xing Menjing was confused. She didn't understand what Ling Qinyu meant at all. She could only answer a few questions that she understood. Just then, Xing Menjing's phone rang. It was Xiao Chen, so she picked it up. Miss, which room are you in? Why didn't I find your names at the front desk? Xiao Chen asked. After he finished talking with Jia Muzhen, he went to the hotel to find Xing Menjing and Ling Xiaoxue. However, he couldn't find them at the front desk. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The hotel is full, so Ling Xiaoxue and I came back. We just arrived at the dorm. Xing Menjing was eating potato chips. Her hands were greasy, so she used her shoulder to hold the phone. Xiao Chen said, looks like I can't get a room with you today. I'll go find you later. Let's go out for dinner tonight. Xiao Chen's voice wasn't loud, but Xing Menjing's chin accidentally touched the hands-free button as she held her phone between her shoulders. As a result, Xiao Chen's words were played, and Ling Qinyu heard everything clearly. Come over first. Xing Menjing was extremely embarrassed. She glanced at Ling Qinyu in embarrassment and hung up the phone without even wiping her hands. Xiao Chen looked at the phone that was quickly hung up and felt a little depressed. What's wrong with the missy? He hung up before he could say anything. Could it be that he was changing his clothes? In the dormitory, the atmosphere suddenly became subtle. Xing Menjing silently chewed potato chips and didn't know what to say. After Xiao Chen said that, she couldn't explain at all. Ling Qinyu, on the other hand, looked at her in shock, wondering if there was something wrong with her ears. That. Yao Yao, did I hear it wrong? The three of you are going to a hotel, to get a room? The two of them stared at each other for a long time before Ling Qinyu finally broke the silence. Ling Qinyu was indeed shocked. In her mind, Xiao Yi was just a loser. He actually managed to get Ling Qinxue. Wasn't Rin Qinxue a ninja from Japan? Why would he fall in love with an ordinary student? And he even went to get a room with him? This was simply unbelievable. What was going on? What was even more surprising was, why did Xing Yao Yao agree to it? The three of them actually went to get a room together? Yes, you didn't hear it wrong. We are indeed going to get a room. Xing Menjing helplessly put down the potato chips and nodded. After all, she accidentally pressed the wrong button. There was no point in trying to cover it up. Aren't you and Xiao Yi boyfriend and girlfriend? Why did you agree to Ling Xiaoxue's involvement? Did she grab hold of your weakness and use it to threaten you? Ling Qinyu was puzzled. From her point of view, although Xing Yao Yao looked ordinary, there was no need for her to do this. Which woman would like to share a man with another woman? Could there be some inside story behind all this? Moreover, if Ling Qinxue really grabbed hold of Xing Yao Yao's weakness and threatened her to share a man, then would Xing Yao Yao secretly help her in the future and harm her? After all, she and Xing Yao Yao lived in the same dormitory. If Xing Yao Yao wanted to make a move, she could do it at any time. It's not as serious as you say. Actually, in the middle, some things happened. I couldn't do anything about it. That's why this situation happened. Xing Menjing waved her hand and explained helplessly. That's not necessarily true. I think that Ling Xiaoxue played a trick and purposely made things difficult for us. She's not as good as you think. Before. Ling Qianyu suddenly stopped. Maybe she realized that she had said something wrong and quickly turned her head away. Although Qing Yaoyao was her roommate, Ling Qianyu didn't plan to tell her everything. After all, the two of them weren't close enough to talk about everything. Also, what if Qing Yaoyao was already taken over by Ling Qianxue and turned around to harm her? Before? What about before? Qianyu, you seem to have a prejudice against Xiaoxue. Did you guys know each other before? Although Ling Qianyu only said half of her sentence, Qing Menjing still heard it. She couldn't help but be confused. No. I just don't understand the strange relationship between you guys. Ling Qianyu shook her head and denied it. Is that so? Qing Menjing didn't really believe it. Even if she continued to ask, Ling Qianyu might not say it. Dong dong dong. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Qing Menjing ran to open the door. It was Xiao Qin. Hello. I saw that the clouds outside were very thick. It might rain. We need to bring an umbrella. Xiao Qin said to Qing Menjing. He knew nothing about what happened in the dormitory. Got it. Come in first. Wait for me. I'm going to take a shower and change into a new set of clothes. You can chat with Senior Qianyu for a while. Qing Menjing calmed herself down and said to Xiao Qin. Oh. Xiao Qin responded. Even though she was down and out, she still didn't change her habit of changing clothes often. Qing Menjing picked out the clothes and joked, don't be impatient. This is a rare opportunity for you to spend time with Campus Bellon. The other guys dream of coming to Senior Qianyu's dormitory. I didn't expect you to make it this time. But you're not allowed to have any improper thoughts about Senior Qianyu when I'm showering. Alright, hurry up and shower. Xiao Qin helplessly agreed. He found it a little funny. He had been to Ling Qianyu's dormitory more than once. He had even seen her whole body. There was nothing strange about it. Turning his head to look at Ling Qianyu, Xiao Qin said politely, Senior Qianyu, Yao Yao usually doesn't take care of herself. Thank you for helping me take care of her these days. I'll treat you to a meal next time. You're welcome. We're roommates now. It's natural for us to take care of each other. Ling Qianyu said politely. She couldn't help but secretly look at Xiao Qin. She really couldn't figure it out. No matter how she looked at it, Xiao Yi was just an ordinary guy. It was understandable that he attracted Qing Yaoyao, who was equally ordinary. How could he make Ling Qianyu fall in love with him? She wouldn't believe it if she said there was no problem. Chapter 922. However, after staring at Xiao Yi for a long time, Ling Qianyu had a strange familiar feeling, as if she had seen him before, but she just couldn't remember. After thinking about it carefully, Ling Qianyu still couldn't remember, so she had to give up. She must be thinking too much. Xiao Yi was a loser with a common face. She could easily meet several on campus. Maybe there were similar pursuers around her. Xiao Qin didn't pay attention to Ling Qianyu's gaze. Instead, he casually looked around the dormitory, looking at the young Miss's usual living environment. After scanning around, his eyes fell on the table. There were a few open books on it. Curious, Xiao Qin went forward and flipped through them. Huh. Senior sister, you can dance? I didn't know you were so versatile. After flipping through, Xiao Qin found that these were all international standard dance books. He couldn't help but be surprised. Xiao Qin thought about it. It was probably because he didn't have much contact with Ling Qianyu before. When he was her bodyguard, this little girl had always been on guard against him, so Xiao Qin didn't communicate much with her. He was usually only concerned about her personal safety, so it was normal that he didn't know about these things. After asking, Xiao Qin flipped through a few pages of the International Standard Dance book in his hand. Sure enough, he couldn't understand it at all. He could only, artistically, appreciate the teaching pictures inside. I learned it when I was young, but I'm already rusty. Ling Qianyu smiled and added, isn't the school going to hold an art festival party in a few days? Every department has to perform a talent show, so my department assigned the task to me. I don't know anything else, so I can only make a last-minute effort and study as soon as possible. I hope I won't make a fool of myself when the time comes. What art festival party? Xiao Chen was stunned and asked in surprise. What was the situation with the party? No one had told him about it. Huh? You don't know? Every autumn, Lon City University will hold an art festival party. Students from every department have to prepare a few performances. Didn't you receive the notice? Ling Qinyu was also a little puzzled and asked with her head tilted. Xiao Chen was suddenly speechless. He could almost guess that when he was punished this morning, Professor Zhong had informed the class, but no one had told him yet. Seeing that Ling Qinyu still had a confused look on her face, Xiao Chen could only let out a dry laugh and said, "That. I was basically sleeping in class and didn't pay attention. Maybe the teacher already informed me." Hee hee. Oh, all right. A drop of cold sweat appeared on Ling Qinyu's forehead. She almost rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen, but she held it in. After chatting for a while, they heard the bathroom door open. Cheng Menjing had finished showering and came out. Cheng Menjing looked up and saw that Xiao Chen was sitting there with a straight face. He didn't have any ill intentions towards Ling Qinyu. She couldn't help but feel relieved. After dressing up a little, Cheng Menjing greeted Xiao Chen and prepared to go out. "Yao Yao, don't be in a hurry to leave." Seeing that Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing were almost at the door, Ling Qinyu mustered up her courage and shouted. She just thought that there were some things that she still had to hint to Cheng Menjing. Seeing that Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing both turned their heads, Ling Qinyu said to Xiao Chen, "Xiao Yi, I'm sorry, I have some private words between girls to say to Yao Yao. Can I trouble you to wait outside for a while?" "Sure. No problem, you guys talk." Xiao Chen didn't think much of it. He nodded and turned to leave the dormitory, closing the door on his way out. Although Xiao Chen could release his divine sense to eavesdrop, he didn't do so. Ling Qinyu already said that it was private words between girls. It wasn't good for him to take the liberty to eavesdrop. "Senior Qinyu, what's wrong? Do you want me to bring something for you?" Cheng Menjing saw Ling Qinyu's mysterious look and thought that she was on her period and wanted to bring something for the night, so she specifically asked Xiao Chen to go out first. No. Since Ling Qinyu stopped Cheng Menjing, she no longer hesitated. She lowered her voice and said with a serious expression, "Actually, I want to tell you that I think there's something wrong with the Ling Xiaoshua's identity. When you guys come into contact with her, you must be careful so that she doesn't use you." "Huh? Senior sister, I don't quite understand what you mean." Cheng Menjing froze for a moment and felt a little surprised. She naturally knew that there was something wrong with Ling Qinyu, but Ling Qinyu didn't know Ling Qinyu, so how did she know? "There are some things that I can't say too much about. I don't know if you've vaguely heard that my grandfather works in a very mysterious special department." Ling Qinyu decided to divulge a little and said with a serious expression, "According to the information he provided, Ling Qinyu isn't from Great Xia. She came to Lanqing University because she has an unspeakable secret." "Ah. Special department?" Cheng Menjing was even more surprised. She didn't expect Ling Qinyu to have such a background. Could it be that her grandfather was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Then why didn't Xiao Chen mention it to her? It seemed that this guy was hiding a lot of things from her. She must find a chance to ask him about it later. "Don't be too nervous." Seeing Cheng Menjing's surprised expression, Ling Qinyu softened her tone and said, "I suspect that Ling Xiaoshua's motive for being sandwiched between you guys isn't simple." For a moment, Cheng Menjing didn't know how to answer. Ling Qinyu thought that she was suspicious and explained, "I'm not trying to sow discord. The three of you being together actually has nothing to do with me, right? However, you're my roommate after all. Now that I know about this, I should at least remind you." The reason why Ling Qinyu told her frankly was because she was thinking for Cheng Menjing's sake. She felt that Qing Yaoyao's appearance was average while Ling Qinyu was a great beauty with many tricks up her sleeves. If Xiao Yi was infatuated with her, he would easily dump Qing Yaoyao. At that time, it would be too late to cry. On the other hand, it was also for her own safety. Ling Qinyu also felt that she needed to give Qing Yaoyao a warning. Even if she didn't let her and Xiao Yi stay away from Ling Qinyu, at least she had to be clear about this situation. Otherwise, with Ling Qinyu's ability, when Qing Yaoyao was sold by her, she might even count the money for her. Plus, she and Qing Yaoyao were in the same dorm room. Who knew when she would also get herself into trouble? I understand. I'll be careful from now on. Thank you. Qing Menjing nodded her head and agreed. Since Ling Qinyu already knew Ling Qinyu's identity, Qing Menjing couldn't explain too much in case it got more messy. Now it seemed that Ling Qinyu's vigilance towards Ling Qinyu was very high. Her prejudice towards Ling Qinyu was also quite deep. It was hard to change it in a short period of time. Plus, girls were more imaginative. They didn't have the meticulous logic of boys. If she didn't explain it well, Ling Qinyu would easily think the wrong way. Chapter 923. That's good. Be more careful. Seeing that Qing Menjing had agreed, Ling Qinyu didn't say anything else. Ling Qinxue returned to the dormitory alone. She looked a little lost. She still found it hard to accept the series of events that had happened to her recently. First, she had lost her virginity to Xiao Chen without realizing it. Now, she had to turn the tables and help Xiao Chen deceive the Sakura group and young Master Xing. This made her feel even more powerless, and she was often immersed in conflicted emotions. In fact, even Ling Qinxue herself didn't know why she agreed to Xiao Chen's request in a daze. Although she knew that she did have a good impression of Xiao Chen, her views had always been more conservative. Since she was young, she was instilled with the idea that she had to serve the Sakura group wholeheartedly. After so many years, she thought that she wouldn't have the chance to fall in love again. She was already prepared to spend the rest of her life alone and even sacrifice her life for the organization. She didn't expect such an accident to suddenly happen. Why are you in a daze? I called you a few times, but you didn't reply. Did you encounter some trouble? Not long after Ling Qinxue returned to the dormitory, Xing also returned. Seeing her sitting on the chair, she wanted to ask her about the recent situation. In the end, she didn't know what Ling Qinxue was thinking. She called for a long time, but there was no response. It's nothing. Do you want to drink water? I'll go pour you a cup. Ling Qinxue came back to her senses. Seeing that Xing was staring at her, she stood up absent-mindedly. Drink what water? Xing frowned. She was very dissatisfied with Ling Qinxue's state. She asked coldly, "What's wrong with you? Is it not going well with Xiao Yi? I've told you many times to find out his true identity by all means possible. I can't stay in the secular world for too long. You'd better settle things quickly." But I've already tried my best. I seduced him according to your instructions. I even gave him my first time. Ling Qinxue felt very wronged. Thinking about this made her feel sad. A girl's most precious first time was lost unknowingly. Don't find excuses for yourself. These are all excuses. I've given you a mission, so you have to do your best to complete it. Little Miss Xing hardened her heart and reprimanded him in a tough tone. But things aren't that simple. How do you know I didn't try my best? I'm even more anxious than you are. Ling Qinxue felt wronged, but also a bit angry. Why was this young Master Xing always so high and mighty, not taking her seriously at all? Because she had to choose between Xiao Chen and the Sakura group, Ling Qinxue was already very troubled. She hadn't expected little girl Xing to keep pressing her. Finally, the pressure she had been enduring for a long time exploded out. She shouted without a care for anything else. What kind of attitude is that? You've broken through? Little girl Xing was first startled by Ling Qinxue's loud roar. She was about to get angry, but her gaze suddenly froze and she asked in astonishment. What? It was rare for Ling Qianxue to lose control of her emotions. Just now, her mind was in a rush. Now that she had calmed down, she asked subconsciously. I remember that you were barely a martial master a few days ago, right? Now, you're actually a martial master at the peak of the 10th layer, half a step into the martial general level? How did you do it? Little girl Xing was very confused. Just now, when Ling Qianxue's emotions were fluctuating, she had unintentionally released her strength. To think that she was actually half a step into the martial general level. This gap was a bit big. I'm not too sure either. Ling Qianxue finally understood young Master Xing's words and was also stunned. These few days, she had been worrying about Xiao Chen and the organization, so she didn't even notice that she had broken through. Now that she checked and found that it was as young Master Xing said, she was also very surprised. Forget it, I won't argue with you about what happened just now. Anyway, hurry up and I'll be able to report to the higher-ups. Little girl Xing looked at Ling Qianxue's stunned expression and felt that she didn't seem to be faking it, so she didn't continue asking. It seemed that this little girl had been under a lot of pressure recently, so she didn't even know that she had broken through. That Xiao Yi is usually a bit cautious. I've tested him a few times, but he didn't fall for it. I feel that I might have to think of another way to try it, Ling Qianxue explained with a bitter expression. Then you can let him let his guard down before you test him. Little girl Xing said seriously, for example, I know that when a man wants to do that, his willpower is very weak. As long as you suddenly don't give it to him, and then ask him a few questions, who knows, you might be able to get some information out of him. Next time, you can try it out according to my method. Little girl Xing seemed to speak very logically, but in reality, she had no experience in this area. Everything she knew was completely from the internet. Oh. Okay then. I'll try it another day. Ling Qianxue could only nod her head, her heart was very conflicted. Ling Qianxue knew Xiao Chen's true cultivation, so how could she not give it to him at that time? Although she had already advanced to half a step into martial general, if she really angered Xiao Chen, and the two of them fought, she wouldn't be able to gain any advantage at all. And at that time, Xiao Chen might think that she was playing around, and then he would crack her, and get his way. So young Master Xing's method was completely useless. Most importantly, she didn't need to test him. She already knew the answer, but how was she going to trick young Master Xing? After Red Hair received the money, he immediately ordered Du Rongwei to gather all the students who came to the karate dojo in the past, explain the situation, show them the portrait, and tell them to pay more attention to the school, and that was it. As for Red Hair himself, he brought the young ninja everywhere to drink, and be merry. He didn't care about finding the person at all, and often didn't even see a shadow of him for a few days. Previously, when he was running the Extreme Karate Dojo, although there was an income from the school fees, he had to be busy every day. After a day, he was extremely tired, and even if he wanted to go out and play, he didn't have the energy to go out and play. Red Hair had been holding back for a long time. Now that he had such a large sum of money, and didn't need to rely on protection fees to survive, Red Hair simply threw his career to the back of his head, and enjoyed his extravagant days to the fullest. However, he didn't forget to trick the two rich people, and in advance, he arranged for delicious food and drinks, as well as a group of high-quality prostitutes to properly serve the two rich people. Although the two cultivators of the Jia family had high cultivation, they didn't understand the affairs of the mortal world and the ways of the world at all. In the beginning, they specially kept an eye on Red Hair for a few days. Seeing that he indeed left early and returned late, and sometimes didn't even return, they thought that Red Hair was working very hard to help them find the person, and couldn't help but be very happy. Chapter 924. In addition, Red Hair had arranged everything for them. Every day, they would be surrounded by delicacies and beauties. They were even more satisfied and no longer kept an eye on Red Hair and enjoyed themselves. After a while, Red Hair had spent most of his money. After discussing with the young ninja, he decided to make up an excuse and ask for some money from the two cultivators. After all, they had plenty of money, so it was not a big deal. Red Hair could tell that these two cultivators were the typical idiots with a lot of money. As long as they served them well, it would be a piece of cake to swindle them for money. They were basically two mobile ATMs. Therefore, Red Hair did not plan to seriously look for them. He wanted to swindle more money first. Brother Black Feather, Brother Bai Chi, I have news for you. After the plan was decided, Red Fur came to the two's residence eagerly. As soon as he pushed open the door and entered, he saw that the square table in front of him was filled with good wine and dishes. Hey Yu and Bai Chi were eating and drinking to their heart's content, and there were also a few all-faced beauties snuggling up to them. The two of them had a satisfied expression on their faces and laughed heartily from time to time. They seemed to be having a good time. Isn't this Brother Red Hair? Come, come, come. Sit down and talk slowly. Drink a few cups with us. Bai Chi slapped the butt of the woman beside him and said with a smile, Su Su, quickly pour some wine for Brother Red Hair and add a pair of chopsticks for him. Got it. Brother Bai, don't you feel sorry for me? It hurts so much. Su Su pouted and stood up to pour some wine for Red Hair. Then, she winked at Red Hair. Brother Red Hair, come and sit here. Red Hair didn't stand on ceremony. He picked up his wine glass and drained it in one gulp as a form of respect to the two of them. Then, he sat beside Hey Yu and wolfed down a few mouthfuls of food. He smiled and chatted with Bai Chi and Hey Yu for a while. Seeing that the atmosphere was about right, he wiped the oil off his mouth and put down the chopsticks in his hand. Brothers, I've already set up spies in the school. Recently, many students have sent news saying that they've seen the girl in the portrait. I believe that it won't be long before we find out more information about her. Red Hair said with a flattering expression. Not bad, we've all seen what you've done. Hey Yu nodded his head in satisfaction. You've really tried your best. However, I have to warn you that you have to be careful when you do things. When those students find her, you have to inform us immediately. Don't alert them. If she accidentally finds out and takes the opportunity to slip away, it will be difficult to find her again. Alright. I understand Brother Hey Yu's meaning. I'll go back and remind them again. I guarantee that nothing will go wrong. Redhead hurriedly nodded his head in agreement. In his heart, he thought that it was a close shave. He didn't think that these two idiots weren't as stupid as he thought. They had even specially monitored him. Fortunately, he had arranged for those students to pretend to search around the campus. Otherwise, if these two people knew the truth, there would be big trouble. Yes, we are more at ease with you taking care of things. Bai Chi laughed meaningfully. He reached out his hand and pinched Su Su's smooth cheeks, causing a series of playful cries. In an instant, the sounds of women talking and fists swinging left Redhead dazzled and his lower abdomen burned. After patiently chatting with them for a while, Redhead could no longer sit still. He went straight to the point. Brothers, the reason I came to find you this time, other than to report on the progress, there is another matter. It is. I want to apply for some finding funds. As you know, in order to find that girl, we have spent almost all of our previous funds. So, hee hee. Oh, isn't it just money? No problem. Why didn't you say so earlier? Hey Yu waved his hand nonchalantly. He pulled out a stack of money from his bag and threw it in front of Redhead. He said casually. If you have no money in the future, just tell me. Why are you wasting so much money? As long as we can find that person, money doesn't matter. Thank you, Brother Hey Yu, Brother Bai Chi. In that case, I won't disturb the two of you. You two can continue. I will now send more people to help you two complete your mission earlier. Redhead's wish was fulfilled. He smiled and grabbed the money on the table. He was too lazy to count it and stuffed it into his pocket. Redhead did not care how much money there was. At any rate, these two idiots had said that if he ran out of money, he could come back to them again. He was prepared to ask for it a few more times in the future. At worst, he could just make up some other excuses to trick them. You don't have to be too anxious. Remember to let those students keep a low profile. As long as they can lock onto the person, it's fine. Don't be rash. It doesn't matter if it takes a bit more time. Bai Qi was still worried and reminded him again. Then, he gestured for Redhead to leave. He then continued to flirt with Su Su. Although he said it was for the sake of caution, that was not the main reason. The reason why Bai Qi was not anxious was because he did not plan on leaving the secular world so soon. When he and He Yu were in the inner martial arts family, they had always lived a life similar to that of a monk. How could they have such a good and happy life like this? Of course, they hoped that Redhead would take as long as possible. After all, it was rare for them to come out and enjoy themselves. When they returned, they probably would not have the chance to enjoy such a life again. Red Hair agreed immediately and was even happier in his heart. Since the other party had spoken, he had even more reason to drag out the search. He didn't stay for long and quickly left with the money. He was ready to go out and have fun with the young ninja. While Bai Qi and He Yu were living a befuddled life, two beautiful figures were dancing a beautiful ballroom dance in Lanqing University's dance rehearsal room. It was very pleasing to the eye. One of the beautiful figures was Ling Qinyu. The other was a girl with slightly inferior looks and a slightly reserved expression. The two of them were preparing for the gala of the art festival. In the same rehearsal room, some students from other departments were also rehearsing. Although they each occupied a part of the area and did not interfere with each other's rehearsals, Ling Qinyu was like a ray of light. She always unconsciously attracted the gazes of others. The girls were jealous and unwilling, while the boys were full of admiration and amazement. As expected of the school belle, she was so elegant and moving when she danced. It seemed that the first prize of this year's art festival would definitely be Ling Qinyu's. However, even though she was being stared at by so many people at the same time, Ling Qinyu did not seem to feel it at all. She was focused on practicing with her dance partner. On the contrary, her dance partner was slightly nervous. Actually, Ling Qinyu did not want to go on stage to perform. She was not someone who liked to be in the limelight. However, the department's student council officer, Xiao Peng, came to find her again and again. She tried her best to persuade her, insisting that she participate. Chapter 925. He even said that as the campus belle, she had to think about the honor of the faculty and bring honor to the faculty. In short, he would spout a bunch of high-sounding words every time. After being asked so many times, Ling Qinyu could only reluctantly agree. She recalled that she had never participated in such activities before. Ling Qinyu was worried that other students would think that she was aloof and unsociable, so she agreed to perform after much consideration. Although she reluctantly agreed to perform, Ling Qinyu wanted to choose her own program and partner. Naturally, Little Peng agreed without hesitation. It was fine as long as she was willing to perform on stage. Besides, her request was very normal. However, Ling Qinyu did not have many friends in Lanqing University, and there were even fewer who knew how to dance. After discussing with Little Peng, she could only find a girl in the faculty who knew how to dance. Outside the rehearsal room, a guy who looked like a young master was looking in through the window. His eyes kept sweeping over Ling Qinyu's chest and butt. He gulped and retracted his gaze with difficulty. He turned to the guy beside him and asked, "Little Peng, have you done what I asked you to do? There won't be any problems, right?" "Young Master Zheng, don't worry. It's all done. There won't be any problems for me to do it." Little Peng nodded and patted his chest. "That's good. When the time comes, give that girl some money and tell her to pretend that she's having her period and withdraw from the performance before going on stage. Then, this young master will replace her." The corner of Zheng Shiding's lips curled up and he sneered, "Remember, tell that girl to keep her mouth shut after this. Otherwise, if the news is leaked, not only will she not get a single cent, I will also find someone to gang rape her." "Understood?" "Of course. Of course." That girl is from my girlfriend's dorm. Her family has always been poor and she lives on subsidies, so she's very short of money. As long as young Master Zheng gives her the money, she will definitely keep her mouth shut. Little Peng replied respectfully. Little Peng used to be one of Zheng Shiding's friends. Zheng Shiding had contributed a lot to his successful promotion to the student council, so he was happy to do him a favor. Yes, this is your reward and the girl's advance payment. Zheng Shiding nodded in satisfaction. He took out an iPhone and an envelope with money and handed them to Xiao Peng. After it's done, ask the girl to come to the dormitory to find me. I'll give her the rest of the money. No problem. Xiao Peng happily took the phone and money and agreed. He also knew that Zheng Shiding's purpose of asking the girl to go to the dormitory was to have sex with her. However, he didn't want to care so much, as long as he got the phone. Putting her phone away, Little Peng smiled and said, "Young Master Zheng, I'll be leaving first. You can continue to enjoy it. Alright, go and play." Zheng Shiding's head had long since turned back. He casually waved his hand, and his eyes once again focused on Ling Qinyu's body, admiring her like he was intoxicated. Seeing that young Master Zheng had no more instructions, Xiao Peng turned around and walked toward his girlfriend's dormitory. He was going to show off his iPhone to his girlfriend, and while he was at it, he would give the advance payment to the other girl without attracting attention. Not long after Xiao Peng entered the dormitory, another handsome boy with fair skin also rushed over and walked toward the girl's dormitory. This person was Shui Gao. He had been wandering around the campus, trying to find the whereabouts of Su Chuxia and Tian Suru. He finally found out that the two girls were in the dormitory, so he immediately rushed over. He had always wanted to get close to the two girls, but he couldn't find a suitable opportunity. It was rare for him to come across a group event like the art festival, so he naturally wouldn't let go of this great opportunity to pick up girls. Knock, knock, knock. Shui Gao stood in front of Su Chuxia's dormitory. He first tidied up his clothes, then gently knocked on the door. But what puzzled him was that there was a burst of hurried footsteps in the room, and then there was a girl's scream, and then there was no more sound. Shui Gao waited for a while, but there was no movement. He felt a little strange, but then he thought that the girls probably wore less clothes in the room, and when they heard someone was visiting, they hurried to change. Thinking that he had figured out the key, Shui Gao reached out and knocked a few more times, then shouted in the friendliest tone possible, "Chuxia, Suru, I'm Senior Ice Cream. Are you guys in the room? I have something to talk to you guys about." "Coming, wait for a moment." Su Chuxia's reply came from the room, and Shui Gao immediately felt that his guess was confirmed. He didn't say anything more, struck a pose that he thought was the coolest, and waited patiently against the wall. After a few more minutes, the door slowly opened, and Su Chuxia carefully poked her head out. She looked around nervously, and when she saw that Shui Gao was alone, she relaxed and asked calmly, "Hello, may I know why you're looking for me?" "Huh? Chuxia, why are you alone? Where did Suru go?" Shui Gao straightened his body, a confused look on his face. He wanted to walk into the room, but Su Chuxia stopped him at the door. "She's not feeling well, and she's resting in her room. If you have something to say it here." Su Chuxia stared at Shui Gao cautiously, not budging an inch. Su Chuxia actually hated good-for-nothing rich kids like Shui Gao, but she didn't hit a smiling face. He hadn't offended her before, so she couldn't just close the door and refuse to see him. Yes. She's not feeling well, and she needs to rest more." Shui Gao nodded, expressing his warm concern, but in his heart, he didn't think much of it. "You two little bitches, why are you pretending? When I get all of you in bed and conquer you one by one, won't you all be obedient to me? What do you want?" Su Chuxia ignored Shui Gao's fawning and asked coldly again. Shui Gao smiled, seemingly unfazed by Su Chuxia's indifference. "It's like this, in a few days, our Lan University's art festival will begin. Have you guys thought about what you want to perform?" "Art festival? We..." Su Chuxia was halfway through her sentence when she heard footsteps behind her. Then, she was pulled away from the door. Su Chusha turned around and saw Tian Suru running out of the room. She had one hand on her waist, and the other was pointing at Shui Gao's nose as she scolded, "Are you crazy? What's there to perform? Sisters Suru and Chusha don't know anything, and they're not interested in participating in that stupid art festival. Do you have anything else? If not, curl up into a ball and get out of here." Chapter 926. Shui Gao was speechless as he looked at the aggressive Tian Suruan. Didn't Su Chusha say that she wasn't feeling well? Why did he look so lively and energetic? Shui Gao didn't know that ever since Tian Suruan met the two cultivators from the Jia family at the breakfast stall, she had been paranoid. She kept suspecting that someone was following her or that someone was trying to harm her. She almost had a mental breakdown. Now, apart from attending classes, she rarely appeared in public. Su Chusha brought her meals from the cafeteria and she ate them in the dormitory. She was chatting with Su Chusha in the dormitory when she suddenly heard a knock on the door. She thought it was the Jia family and jumped up from the sofa in fright. She tried to hide in the closet in her room in a hurry, but her little toe accidentally bumped into the leg of the table. The scream that Shui Gao heard outside the door was Tian Suruan's involuntary scream. Su Chusha only opened the door after she endured the pain and hid in the closet. However, even though Tian Suruan was hiding in the closet, she heard every word of the conversation outside. When she found out why Shui Gao was here, she almost went crazy with anger. Just because of this trivial matter, not only did he hurt his toes, but he was also forced to hide in the wardrobe like a stray dog. He was so unlucky. That was why Tian Soran was so angry. He opened the wardrobe and rushed out. He vented the anger in his heart on Shui Gao. Shui Gao had hit the muzzle of a gun this time. Usually, Tian Wangshuan didn't go out. How could she take the initiative to show her face in a place like the art festival? "Senior Shui Gao, thank you for your kind intentions, but we really haven't learned any talent, so we won't take the liberty to embarrass ourselves on stage. You should find someone else," Su Chusha said apologetically. Since Suruan was unwilling, she had no reason to participate. To be honest, she wasn't interested in the art festival. "Don't reject me so early. Actually, the performance of the gala isn't that difficult. It's nothing more than singing and dancing. Just choose something simple." Shui Gao's tone was still gentle, but in his heart, he almost cursed Tian Souring to death. He could tell that it was mainly because Tian Suruan did not want to act in the show. That was why Su Chusha had rejected him as well. Shui Gaoyuan thought that it would be a piece of cake. He did not expect things to turn out this way. Even if it's simple, Sister Sour doesn't know how to do it. "Since you're so enthusiastic, why don't you do it yourself? Why do you have to look for us?" Tian Suruan asked angrily as if he had eaten gunpowder. She was not willing to go on stage. If she happened to be recognized by the Jia clan, she would be in big trouble. Shui Gao didn't think that Tian Sourli's attitude would be so firm. He rolled his eyes and came up with a plan. Putting on a bitter face, he said, "It's not that senior wants to force you to. Actually, this matter was brought up by the faculty's teachers. They want the two of you to put on a performance." "Impossible. How could the teachers in the department be so bored? Don't try to fool us." Tian Wangshuo looked at Shui Gao suspiciously. Cough cough, how could that be? "Who asked you two to be the prettiest girls in our department? I heard that the other departments also sent their prettiest girls to perform. So, our department can't admit defeat. The teachers hope that the two of you can think of the big picture. After all, we are a team. We can't be individualistic." Shui Gao explained sincerely. "Humph. Anyway, Sister Sour doesn't know how to do anything. Don't even think of asking me to go on stage." Tian Wangshuo snorted and shook her head firmly. Shui Gao changed his tone. "How about this? No matter which one of you is fine, one of you must go on stage to perform. Then, I will explain to the teachers on your behalf. I believe that for the sake of senior ice cream, the teachers won't make things too difficult for you too. This. Su Chuxia felt helpless when Shui Gao put it this way. She glanced at Tian Wangshou and saw that she was in a difficult position. Thinking about her actual situation, she had no choice but to say, since this is what the teachers want, there's no other way. Let me perform. I haven't thought of the specific performance yet. When I think about it, I will find a suitable partner to go on stage with me. What big picture? You're simply making things difficult for me. Tian Wangshou knew that Su Chuxia reluctantly agreed to go on stage for her sake. She couldn't help but glare at Shui Gao and sulk. Actually, Tian Wangshou and Su Chuxia didn't expect that there was no such thing as a roll call or a campus bell. Shui Gao was just using the teachers as a cover to trick them. They just needed to call the teachers to confirm it and they would immediately see through Shui Gao's lies. However, Tian Wangshou had something else to hide, and Su Chuxia didn't think that Shui Gao would lie about this. It's okay. Senior ice cream is most proficient in talent shows. I will choose a few suitable acts for you and let you decide which one to perform. I guarantee it won't be too difficult. Seeing that Su Chuxia finally agreed, Shui Gao secretly heaved a sigh of relief and promised with a smile. Shui Gao was thinking about what kind of show he should arrange for Su Chuxia as he made the guarantee. Actually, he had the same idea as Jing Shiding. He planned to wait for Su Chuxia to find a partner, then threaten and bribe her into going on stage. Then, he could kiss the beauty. Although Tian Wangshou wouldn't be participating, Su Chuxia's looks and figure were top-notch. She was also a rare beauty. Moreover, she had a weak personality. Even if he wanted to take advantage of her, she would have no choice but to let him do it on stage. She wouldn't dare to make a sound. Oh, then you can go back and choose slowly. Sister Wangshou won't keep you company. Chuxia, let's go. Tian Wangshou snorted coldly and dragged Su Chuxia into the room. Then, she hooked the door with her foot and slammed it shut with a loud bang. Ouch! Shui Gao was still standing there with his imagination running wild. He didn't expect that the closed door would hit his nose. He couldn't help but cry out in pain. He felt like he was seeing stars, and his vision was blurry. He subconsciously touched his nose. His hand was bright red. It turned out that the collision had actually caused his nose to bleed. Motherf *King B *TCH, why are you so arrogant? When you become my toys, let's see if you still dare to be so arrogant. Shui Gao covered his nose and cursed under his breath. Then, he left the female dormitory angrily. While the students from the other faculties were busy rehearsing, the ancient martial arts department was not idle. They all gathered in the martial arts hall of the student market and discussed what they should perform during the art festival. Kai Zhuwei, at a time like this, don't just focus on your martial arts manuals. Didn't Professor Zhong tell us? Our faculty has to perform 3 performances. We haven't even figured out a single one. You should at least think about it. Jia Muzin said angrily. Chapter 927. Now everyone was thinking about what to perform, but Kai Zhuwei was still sitting there and reading. Why didn't he have any sense of community? Oh, it's just a performance. Is it that difficult? Let's learn from the other classes and sing a song, then do 2 martial arts performances. That way, we'll have 3 performances. Kai Zhuwei put down the book and said lightly. Then, he picked up the book again as if he was talking about something as simple as eating and brushing his teeth. Everyone looked at each other and didn't mind Kai Zhuwei's disdain. Instead, they felt that what he said was reasonable. Anyway, the other departments had arranged it this way. The boys turned to look at Qing Menjing and Ling Qinxue. Normally, the performance would be girls singing and dancing, while the boys would only perform martial arts. Xiao Chen knew that it wasn't convenient for Miss to show her face in public, so he suggested, how about this? Since we're ancient martial arts majors, why don't we perform a group martial arts? Then we can make a golden shield, iron shirt, or something like that. We can also interact with our classmates and invite them to come on stage. This program will be fun and exciting enough. After all, everyone here who chose to enroll in the ancient martial arts department had to have some strength. Putting aside himself and the miss, that Chick Xing and Ling Qianxue were both real cultivators. Although Wang Jingtian had just recovered from his injuries, he was a solid stage 3 inner force cultivator. Even if he was beaten up by an ordinary person, he wouldn't have a problem. On the surface, only Jia Muzin and Kai Zhui's strength was unknown. It seemed a bit mysterious. However, Xiaochen thought that Jia Muzin, as a disciple of the Jia family, shouldn't be just for show. He just didn't know which realm he had reached. As for the latter, he didn't know anything about him. However, seeing that this guy was reading martial arts books every day, Xiaochen guessed that he had some skills. Great. Xiao Yi's idea is good. Wang Jingtian nodded in support. Yes, it's really good. In this way, we can also promote the martial arts club. It's killing two birds with one stone. Jia Muzin happily agreed. The others didn't have any objections either. Cheng Menjing guessed Xiao Chen's intention at once and was secretly relieved. In addition to not wanting to show her face, there was actually another reason. She was not good at singing since she was a child. After the general direction was decided, everyone discussed going up on stage together and performing a combination of sanda or something. After all, there were less than 10 people in the entire class. They could be counted on their fingers. Since they were already on stage, there was no need to think about other performances. But this time, Wang Jingtian didn't agree. Instead, he raised an objection. I think a mixed martial arts team is too boring. That's just a normal rehearsal. What's the difference between that and acting? As martial artists, what we want is a sense of realism. Do you have any good ideas? Jia Muzin asked from the side. Wang Jingtian rubbed his chin and thought for a while. Then, he slapped his thigh and said, I got it. How about this? I'll perform chopping bricks with my bare hands, and Mu Sen, you'll perform smashing rocks with your chest. Otherwise, Sanda won't attract the attention of other students at all. Pfft. Xiaochen suddenly burst into laughter. He thought Wang Jingtian could come up with some good ideas. He didn't expect it to be this kind of street performance, and it was a relatively low-level one. But to Xiaochen's surprise, everyone listened to Wang Jingtian's suggestion and applauded. Xiaochen was even more speechless. He didn't know what these people were thinking. Could it be that their cultivation was trained by chopping bricks with their bare hands and smashing rocks with their chest? Xiao Yi, you're also from the martial arts club. You can assist me and Jia Muzin. Wang Jingtian glanced at Xiaochen and felt that he looked thinner than Jia Muzin, so he probably wouldn't be of much use. Wang Jingtian instructed, during the performance, you will help me hold the bricks and then hit Jia Muzin with the hammer. Okay. Xiaochen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was a great perfection of Demon King level 10, yet he had to be the assistant of 2 performers. Just thinking about it made him speechless. Then let's start rehearsing now. Let's familiarize ourselves first in case something goes wrong. Jia Muzin stood up excitedly. Wang Jingtian nodded and instructed, Xiao Yi, help me find some green bricks and a big rock. Then, let's start rehearsing. You take the hammer and hit Jia Muzin, no, hit that rock to practice. Green bricks are easy to find. There's a new dormitory being built at the west gate. It's fine for me to get a few, but where can I find such a big rock? Besides, even if I find it, I can't move it by myself. Xiaochen said with a bitter face. The reason why he said this was that Xiaochen didn't want to expose his strength in front of everyone. Otherwise, let alone a big rock, he could even carry a car back. Oh, you're right. Wang Jingtian thought about it and said, there should be a lot of big rocks in the mountain behind the school. You and Jia Muzin go get some green bricks first. I'll take care of the big rocks. We'll meet here later. After that, Wang Jingtian didn't wait for Xiaochen to agree. He went out the door and ran toward the back of the mountain. Xiao Chen spread his hands innocently. Since Wang Jingtian had already assigned them, he didn't express any opinion. He went to carry the bricks with Jia Muzin. Not long after, the two of them carried a pile of green bricks back. However, what surprised them was that when the two of them arrived at the martial arts gym, Wang Jingtian was already waiting inside. His face wasn't red, and he wasn't out of breath. It looked like he had never been out. However, compared to before, there were a few more big rocks on the floor of the martial arts gym. Each one seemed to weigh 100 or 200 pounds. After everything was prepared, Wang Jingtian and Jia Muzin began to rehearse. The two of them were very powerful. Wang Jingtian could split more than 20 green bricks at once. Jia Muzin was pressed down by a few 100 pounds of rocks, but he didn't seem to be afraid at all. He didn't feel suffocated at all. Instead, he looked relaxed. Xiao Chen stood beside Jia Muzin. When he first raised the hammer, he was a little hesitant. He was worried that he would injure Jia Muzin internally. Xiao Yi, it's okay. Just hit it with all your strength. It won't hurt me. Jia Muzin saw Xiao Chen's hesitation. He secretly winked at him and showed an expression that said, "You know what I mean." Xiao Chen knew what Jia Muzin meant. As a member of the internal pugilistic world, this was nothing to him. He nodded, controlled his strength, raised the hammer in his hand, and smashed it down. With a loud boom, Xiao Chen's original apprehension disappeared in an instant. In that instant, the aura that Jia Muzin released was actually that of a 10th layer martial general level perfection. Chapter 928. In the secular world, this kind of strength was simply heaven-defying. This kid actually hit it so well before. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to perform breaking rocks on his chest, he probably wouldn't have revealed it so easily. However, Xiao Chen didn't expose him. After all, Jia Muzin's strength just now was just a flash. The moment the hammer fell, Jia Muzin circulated his mental cultivation to protect his body. When the hammer fell, Jia Muzin immediately dispersed his strength. This speed was so fast that even Wang Jingtian couldn't see it. If Xiao Chen wasn't a cultivator and had sharp observation skills, he probably wouldn't have been able to see it either. Miss Xing and Ling Qinxue, who were watching from the side, looked at each other in puzzlement. They knew Wang Jingtian's strength, but they didn't carefully observe Jia Muzin's cultivation. Just now, they didn't discover Jia Muzin's true cultivation, but they knew that this guy was definitely not an ordinary person. Otherwise, if the hammer fell, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Kai Zhuwei, on the other hand, was still hugging the martial arts manual, squatting in the corner and reading with great interest. He didn't care about what happened around him at all, as if the whole performance had nothing to do with him. Everyone's rehearsal ended in the evening. As tomorrow was the weekend and also the day of the art festival, after the rehearsal ended, everyone went back to rest and prepare for tomorrow's performance. With the previous experience, Xiao Chen booked a hotel room early. After the rehearsal ended, he brought Qing Menjing and Ling Qinxue over. Miss Xing quietly followed behind the three of them. After seeing them enter the same room with her own eyes, she was relieved and returned to the dormitory to wait for Ling Qinxue's good news. The alarm has been lifted. That lady boy has left. In the room, Xiao Chen withdrew his divine sense and stretched. He really didn't understand Miss Xing. Why did she secretly follow him again? Could it be that there was something wrong with her? However, since she had left, Xiao Chen couldn't be bothered. If she liked to follow, then let her be. If she didn't leave, Xiao Chen really planned to tease her. That person is really sick. Why does a good girl like to cross-dress? Is she a transvestite? Qing Menjing curled her lips and complained, also, he always stares at us sneakily in class. I'm always on tenterhooks, afraid that he'll expose us. After Qing Menjing entered the room, she had already returned to her original appearance. Everyone present knew who she was, so there was no need to hide anymore. It was also very tiring to maintain the illusion with her vital energy. Ling Qinxue didn't respond. Ever since she entered the room, she had been troubled. She sat on the bed without saying a word. No one knew what she was thinking. Maybe the people in the martial arts world are a little weird. If you don't like that lady boy, then you should work hard on your cultivation. When your strength reaches the peak of Golden Core Stage Level 9, you can go beat her up to vent your anger. Xiao Chen smiled indifferently. With Xiao Chen's current strength, it wasn't easy to teach Xing Chick a lesson, but if he had the help of the fire of the underworld and in Xiaoma, he would definitely be able to beat Xing Chick up. Ever since the flame of the underworld and in Xiaoma slowly woke up, Xiao Chen's cultivation had a substantial breakthrough. His confidence had also gradually returned. Previously, he was tormented by Ma Baixia and Xing Xiaoma to the point where he was hovering between life and death. Now, he finally had a chance to vent his anger. Of course, Xiao Chen was not stupid. Now that Xing Chick still had doubts about his identity, he naturally wouldn't take the initiative to expose his identity. At most, he would use illusion to tease her. Tisk, I'm too lazy to fight and kill. This glorious and arduous task is left to you to complete. Cheng Menjing said as she walked to the bathroom, but suddenly cheered. She came back and pulled Ling Qinshua's hand. Qinshuo, let's go take a bath together. I saw a big bathtub in the bathroom just now. We can take a bath together and rub each other's backs. I haven't taken a bath for a long time, I really miss it. Xiao Chen's strength had skyrocketed, so he didn't have to worry about anything. He planned to withdraw some money after a while, so he specially chose a luxurious room with a big bathtub. However, this was originally used to increase the couple's interest, but Xing Menjing naturally excluded Xiao Chen. The reason why she asked Ling Qinshuo to go with her was that Jean Bebe had been away for a long time. Previously, she used to take a bath with Jean Bebe. Now, she didn't have any good friends, so they couldn't be together. However, Ling Qinshuo was also considered one of them, so Qing Menjing didn't avoid it too much. No need. You go take a bath first. I'll wait for you to finish. Ling Qinshuo came back to her senses, shook her head, and tried to squeeze out a smile. Qinshuo, what's wrong? You look unhappy. Is there something on your mind? Xiao Chen sat next to Ling Qinshuo, hugged her waist, and asked softly. Did that ladyboy bully you again? Don't be afraid. I'll ask Xiao Chen to beat him up later. Just take it as helping you. Cheng Menjing sat on the other side of Ling Qinshuo, waved her little fist, and said angrily. Thank you both. Feeling the care from Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing, Ling Qinshuo was very touched. For a moment, she didn't know what to say, and her eyes flickered slightly. It's nothing, we're good partners. Cheng Menjing said with a smile. Yes. We'll give you some advice. Maybe the problem can be solved. Don't just stare blankly by yourself. Xiao Chen rubbed Ling Qinshuo's hair. Actually, it's like this. Ling Qinshuo nodded, then told them what Xing Chick forced her to do, as well as what method she used to make Xiao Chen take the bait. I don't know what to do, so this guy is too shameless. He can even think of such a despicable method. After listening, Cheng Menjing was so angry that her face turned red. Was this chick really a girl? How did she think of such a method? Oh. Xiao Chen lowered his head and thought for a while. His eyes lit up, and he said with a smile, that's easy. Just go back and say that you failed. I didn't take the bait at all. Then, Ladyboy won't give you such a rotten idea again. Why did I fail? If I said that for no reason, she definitely wouldn't believe me. Ling Qinshuo asked with a face full of confusion. Although her acting wasn't bad, it had to be reasonable so that Xing Chick wouldn't suspect anything. It's very simple. Just say that at the critical moment, you weren't willing to give it to me, so I went to find Xing Yao Yao and left you hanging. Just say that, she definitely won't suspect anything. This kind of thing is too normal. Xiao Chen explained with a smile. He felt that Xing Chick might have a problem with her IQ. He brought 2 girls to get a room. If one of them didn't give it to him, couldn't he find the other one? Chapter 929. In Your Dreams. Cheng Menjing secretly rolled her eyes and muttered. I was just thinking of a way. Xiao Chen smiled. Cheng Menjing lightly snorted. She understood that this was indeed the case and didn't argue anymore. Right, why didn't I think of that? Ling Qinshue's eyes brightened. She realized that this was indeed a good excuse. The stone in her heart was finally put down and she revealed a smile that she hadn't seen in a long time. She also blamed herself for being too stupid. Why didn't she think of this? Otherwise, she wouldn't have worried Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing. Alright, don't think so much. Since the matter has been resolved, let's go take a bath. Cheng Menjing stood up happily and reached out her hand to take off her clothes out of habit. She suddenly saw Xiao Chen looking at her dumbly and immediately retracted her hand, planning to take it off in the bathroom. Although Cheng Menjing and Xiao Chen had already dual cultivated a few times, it was still a bit hard for her to accept to be naked in front of Xiao Chen. The young miss was a reserved person and couldn't get over the hurdle in her heart. She still needed time to slowly get used to it. But lady boy. Cough cough. What if young Master Xing continues to think of some messy and lousy moves and forces me to do it? We can't always be led by the nose by him. Ling Qinshuo hesitated for a while and opened her mouth again. In the end, she almost let it slip. She realized that ever since she got together with Xiao Chen, she seemed to have less and less respect for little Miss Xing. She no longer had the respect a subordinate had for her superior. Yes. That's true. We should indeed counterattack. We must take the initiative. We can't always let young Master Lady Boy make the first move and then we'll be tired of defending. We have to strike first. Xiao Chen nodded in agreement. He pinched his chin and said, let me think, is there a suitable method? Then take your time to think. We'll go take a bath first. Cheng Menjing pulled Ling Qinshuo and shyly walked to the bathroom. Hearing the sound of water and laughter coming from the bathroom, Xiao Chen didn't have any thoughts. Instead, he held his chin and fell into deep thought. In Xiao Chen's opinion, although little Miss Xing was hateful, she was someone worth using. If he used the right method, he might be able to get some information from her. After a while, Cheng Menjing and Ling Qinshuo finished showering and walked out with towels wrapped around them. Seeing that Xiao Chen was still deep in thought with his head lowered, the two girls didn't dare to disturb him. They quietly sat by the bed and helped each other dry their hair. Xiao Chen saw that the two were sitting by the side and didn't dare to speak loudly. It was quite boring, so he temporarily put aside his thoughts and didn't plan to think about it. He called the two of them to start the 3 types of cultivation. Anyway, he could multitask and think while cultivating. It wouldn't take up any time. Ling Qinshuo was very smart. Xiao Chen only gave her a simple instruction and she understood the method of dual cultivation. The 3 of them sat in a triangle with their palms pressed against each other. They began to transfer their energy and immerse themselves in cultivation. Cheng Menjing cultivated for a while and felt that the speed of the 3 of them seemed to be a bit faster than dual cultivation. She was happy and closed her eyes. She began to use all her strength and speed to transfer her energy. However, as they cultivated, Cheng Menjing suddenly felt that the energy from Xiao Chen's side was cut off for some reason. On the other side, Ling Qinshuo's palm was no longer pressed against hers and left. Other than the breaking of the energy, Cheng Menjing also heard Ling Qinshuo's low moans. She didn't know what they were doing, but the entire bed was also lightly shaking. Surprised, Cheng Menjing opened her eyes and saw that Xiao Chen and Ling Qinshuo were rolling together. Ling Qinshuo seemed to be enjoying it but was also shy. She bit her lips and closed her eyes, but she couldn't help but let out sounds. Cheng Menjing was so angry that she almost went crazy. However, she couldn't just throw a tantrum, so she could only cover her ears tightly. Even so, the whispers of the 2 people on the side were like magic sounds, intermittently passing into her ears. After enduring for a while, Cheng Menjing felt that her body was involuntarily reacting. Her face was also so red that it was about to drip blood. She didn't know if it was because she was angry or hot. Helpless, she snorted, gritted her teeth, and stood up. She put on her clothes and left the room, closing the door behind her. After wandering aimlessly for half an hour, she received a call from Xiao Chen, saying that they were done and asking her to come back. In fact, Xiao Chen's fighting ability was not limited to half an hour. However, although his body was entangled with Ling Qianxue, his heart was still thinking about the young Mississippi. He was afraid that she would encounter some trouble wandering outside alone, so he ended it hastily, so that she could return to the hotel earlier. Please. Next time before you start, can you tell me first? I can also leave early to make room for you. After a while, Qing Menjing walked into the room with a face full of displeasure. She said angrily, "You said that you want to cultivate 3 times together, but in the end, you completely don't take me seriously. This is too much." Ha ha ha. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Xiao Chen explained with a dry laugh. Seeing that Qing Menjing's expression was not good, he quickly changed the topic and said, "However, I have already thought of a way to counterattack young Master Lady Boy. It may not succeed, but at least it should be able to buy some time so that he won't make things difficult for Qianxue in the short term." Oh? What way? Qing Menjing was stunned. Just now, Xiao Chen was still thinking hard and had no way to deal with Xing Qianxue. How did he come up with an idea after doing it with Ling Qianxue once? Could it be that he relied on that to get inspiration? Qing Menjing's imagination was running wild, but Ling Qianxue couldn't care less. She asked urgently, "What do I need to do?" She had been tormented by Xing Qianxue to the point where she couldn't take it anymore. Right now, she was grasping at straws. It's very simple. When you go back, tell young Master Lady Boy this. Xiao Chen turned his head and told Ling Qianxue his idea in detail. Oh. Ling Qianxue furrowed her brows and thought for a while. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. She understood Xiao Chen's intention. "Xiao Chen, will your idea really work? I see that young Master Lady Boy is very cunning. I don't think he'll be so easy to trick." Qing Menjing asked with some doubt. After all, Xiao Chen's idea couldn't stand scrutiny. As long as Xing Qianxue was slightly on guard, she could easily see through his true colors. Then, all the preparation from before would be wasted. What are you afraid of? Life is like a drama. It all depends on acting skills. I believe Qianxue can handle it. Xiao Chen waved his hand disapprovingly. He turned his head and said to Ling Qianxue, "You don't have to wait until tomorrow morning. You can go back and report now. This will make it look more real and will make it harder for young Master Lady Boy to suspect you." Chapter 930. Okay, then I'll leave first. I'll let you know as soon as there's news. Ling Qianxue nodded, put on her clothes, and left the hotel. Xiao Chen and Qing Menjing, on the other hand, sorted out their emotions and continued the unfinished dual cultivation. Although the young miss was affected by Xiao Chen and Ling Qianxue's exercise just now, and her body had an involuntary reaction, after going out and experiencing the cold wind for a while, that feeling had already disappeared. When Ling Qianxue returned to the dormitory late at night, she discovered that Xing girl had not gone to sleep yet. Instead, she was sitting on the sofa in the outer room cultivating. Ling Qianxue thought to herself, "Just nice, I don't have to take the initiative to find you." She took a deep breath, adjusted her emotions, and pretended to be wronged as she silently walked over. You're back. How come you're back so early? Did you find out Xiao Yi's true identity?" Xing girl heard the noise and saw that it was Ling Qianxue. She couldn't help but ask in surprise. She thought that Ling Qianxue would spend the night at the hotel. She didn't think that she would be back before midnight. She was a bit puzzled. What was going on? Sob sob sob. I did what you said just now, and Xiao Yi ignored me. He directly kicked me out and turned around to do it with Qing Yao Yao. Ling Qianxue's tears fell like pearls from a broken necklace. Ah. Xing girl was shocked. She originally thought that her plan was flawless. She didn't think that it would backfire. Looking at the beautiful Ling Qinxue, Xing girl frowned and said, "Is this Xiao Yi blind? You didn't give it to him, but he didn't want it and even kicked you out. He would rather find that average-looking Qing Yao Yao? Is he not interested in beauties?" Xing girl was puzzled. What kind of person was this Xiao Yi? He would rather give up a beauty like Ling Qinxue than reveal any information. Was he really Xiao Chen in disguise? But it didn't seem like it. Yes. Sob sob sob. I don't know what's going on with him. What should I do now? Ling Qinxue wiped her tears and asked innocently. You're asking me? How would I know? Little Miss Xing was speechless. Frowning, she said impatiently, "Don't keep crying. Crying won't solve the problem. Hurry up and think of a solution." Okay. Ling Qinxue secretly pouted and took out a tissue to wipe her face. She lowered her head and pretended to think. Little Miss Xing glared at Ling Qinxue. She was a little unhappy. She didn't complete her mission, yet she still had the nerve to cry. Wasn't she ashamed? After a while, Ling Qinxue seemed to have thought of something. She abruptly raised her head and said, "That's right, I thought of an idea. It should be of some help to our plan." What idea? Don't hide it, hurry up and say it. Little Miss Xing hurriedly urged. I remember that we saw Xiao Chen's information before. He seems to have been looking for his father, right? Ling Qinshue's expression was a little uncertain as she asked weakly. Yes, that's right. Continue. Little Lady Xing thought for a moment and nodded. She didn't know what Ling Qinxue was trying to express. I feel that since we can't directly ask for his true identity, why don't we consider starting from this aspect? Ling Qinxue said as she paused. Her speech speed was neither fast nor slow. She could see that little Lady Xing was a little hooked, so she deliberately wanted to whet her appetite. Don't beat around the bush. What do you want to say? Be more direct. Little Lady Xing was very depressed. This Ling Qinxue used to be quite capable. Why did she become so wishy-washy after doing it with Xiao Chen? It's like this. It's said that the mastermind behind the disappearance of Xiao Chen's father is Qi Tian's sect. Then, can we use Qi Tian's sect to inquire about this? Once we know the ins and outs of this matter, I can use this information to probe Xiao Yi. If he really is Xiao Chen in disguise, then he will definitely pursue this matter at all costs. Ling Qinxue analyzed methodically. Oh. Little Lady Xing's heart moved. What Ling Qinxue said did make some sense. From the previous few times when Xiao Chen searched for his father, it can be seen that he cares a lot about this. So, I feel that the success rate of this method should be quite high. Ling Qinxue saw that little Lady Xing was moved, so she added fuel to the fire. This method was what Xiao Chen told her. This was because Xiao Chen really wanted to find out the whereabouts of his father, but he couldn't find a suitable entry point. Now that little Lady Xing, a disciple of Qi Tian's sect, was here, it became much simpler. This is a method, but are you sure it will work? What if he continues to play dumb after learning about his father's whereabouts? Or what if he just runs away and runs to find his father's whereabouts? Little Lady Xing asked. Little Lady Xing wasn't worrying unnecessarily. After all, Xiao Chen was too cunning. She had already been fooled by him many times. Think about it. Right now, both of us are in our original appearances. If he wants to play dumb and pretend not to know us, then normal methods of probing won't work. Didn't we try many times before? So, I feel that we can only rely on a fierce medicine to make him reveal his true colors. Ling Qinxue wasn't nervous at all and spoke frankly with assurance. Actually, she had already guessed that little Lady Xing would ask this, so she had already prepared the answer to this question. What you said is somewhat reasonable. I didn't think that not only did your strength increase recently, your brain has also become much more intelligent. You're worth teaching. Little Lady Xing was suddenly enlightened. She nodded her head and praised Ling Qinxue. Please don't say that. It's all because I was able to learn from young Master Xing that I was able to improve so quickly. Seeing that she had successfully convinced little lady Xing, Ling Qinshua's heart relaxed. She smiled humbly and said a few words of flattery. All right, your method is indeed feasible. I'll go ask the higher-ups right now. After being flattered a few times, little lady Xing's heart felt better. She nodded her head in satisfaction, picked up her phone, and walked towards her room. After little lady Xing walked into her room, Ling Qianxua secretly let out a sigh of relief. She originally thought that there would be a lot of twists and turns. She didn't think that things would progress so smoothly. With just a few simple words, this matter was settled. Elder son, this is little Xing. I have something to ask. Little lady Xing didn't care that it was already late at night. Without hesitation, she dialed elder son's phone and explained the situation. Luckily, elder son wasn't asleep at this time. He was cultivating, so he didn't reprimand little lady Xing. Oh, I'll go ask around. Wait for my news. After elder son heard this, he felt that little lady Xing's suggestion was indeed reasonable, so he agreed. Oh right, elder son, do you have any news about that Ma Wuxia? Little lady Xing asked. Chapter 931. Not yet. You don't have to worry about that. Focus on your own matters first. The sect will keep an eye on Ma Bao Bao for you, elder son said. Yes, your subordinate obeys. Lady Xing hung up the phone and sighed softly. The next day was Saturday, and it was also the opening day of the art festival. That afternoon, students from all majors swarmed into the auditorium from every corner of Lanqing University. Some people who arrived right after lunch managed to grab a good seat in the front row, while those who arrived late could only sit in the back. Some people who arrived just before the start couldn't find a seat and could only find a worn newspaper to sit on the ground. At 6:00 sharp, the most popular dance song accompanied by the opening dance kicked off the art festival. A group of young girls dressed in sexy outfits danced to the rhythm of the music on the stage, waving and smiling at the audience from time to time. The auditorium was packed with people and there were no empty seats. Many young and inexperienced boys waved excitedly at the girls on the stage. They seemed to be freshmen who had just entered the school. As for the senior students, their expressions were not as enthusiastic. Apparently, they were already used to it. However, compared to previous years' galas, the number of people and popularity in the auditorium was much higher this year. There was no other reason but because this year's program list had been revealed in advance. There was nothing special in the program list, but the most important thing was that the old school beauty, Ling Qianyu, and that a new school beauty, Su Chuxia, would both perform on the stage tonight. This was something that had never happened before. Therefore, even the otakus who did not like to go out and always stayed in their dorms to play games came to support, just to see the new and old school beauties. After the opening dance, the MC went on the stage and said some warm-up lines. Then, the programs prepared by each faculty officially began. This year's programs were very exciting. There were love songs, hot dance, magic, acrobatics, crosstalk, skit, and so on. There was everything. Perhaps it was because they did not want to be outdone by the school beauties, but every program was full of energy. From time to time, the auditorium would erupt with cheers and laughter. It was very lively. Unknowingly, more than a dozen performances had passed. The two heavyweight school beauties still had not appeared on stage. However, the boys in the audience who were holding the program list were not in a hurry. Instead, they were waiting with their eyes wide open. Because the next performance was Ling Qianyu's ballroom dance. At this time, the performance had ended. After the performers bowed and left the stage, everyone was looking forward to it. However, they saw the host running up the stage in a panic and accidentally tripping on the steps. The students below the stage immediately burst into laughter. They all thought that Ling Qianyu was about to go on stage and the host was nervous. Dear students, I'm really sorry. I've just received news that there's been a small accident in the next program. We'll have to postpone the performance for a while. Let's postpone the next program, a male vertical flute solo. Let's welcome student XXX from the XX department to the stage. Everyone, let's welcome him. After explaining in a flustered manner, the host limped off the stage with a bitter expression. Shoo, ao 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 ao, boos rang out from below the stage. Many of the boys wailed and blamed the student council for not putting in enough effort. They had been waiting for Ling Qinyu's performance for a long time. Why did there have to be a problem when it was her turn? The fat boy who performed the vertical flute was also very depressed. As soon as he stepped onto the stage, he heard an overwhelming wave of boos and curses. None of them gave him a good look. He could also see that everyone didn't like watching his program. All their attention was on the campus bell. He was clearly here to take the blame. Although he was very unwilling and unhappy, the fat boy still bit the bullet and went to the front of the stage. He raised his vertical flute and performed with a flute. In the middle, he even broke a few notes because he couldn't catch his breath. However, no one cared about this because the curses had almost completely covered the sound of his vertical flute. Damn fatty. Hurry up and get off the stage. Who wants to see a man play the vertical flute? At least get a girl up on stage. That's right. He blew so badly and was even out of tune. How dare he go on stage? Hurry up and relearn. Hurry up and get the campus bell Ling Qinyu up here. I'm not even playing League of Legends today just to see her. Wow. You really came to see Ling Qinyu. I knew you didn't have any good intentions. See how I'll deal with you when we get back. Ouch. Save me some face. This is a public place. If there's anything, we can discuss it when we get back. Just as the front stage was in an uproar, Ling Qinyu backstage was also burning with anxiety. Because she had just received a phone call. The girl who performed with her suddenly had her period and went to the school infirmary. She couldn't participate in the performance. The other party told her to find a dance partner at the last minute. Ling Qinyu was very depressed. Where was she going to find a dance partner in such a short period of time? Very few people knew how to do such a professional dance. Even if she did find a dance partner, they definitely wouldn't be able to cooperate well. After all, they had rehearsed together for a few days before they had a little bit of chemistry. Qinyu, isn't the following national ballroom dancing your program? I was waiting to watch it just now. Why was it suddenly postponed? Did something happen? Just as Ling Qinyu's brows were furrowed and she was at her wit's end, Zheng Shiding walked over leisurely and asked with a smile. Zheng Shiding was very happy. Ling Qinyu definitely couldn't find a dance partner at the last minute, so he could only help. At that time, not only would he be able to have intimate contact with Ling Qinyu, he might even be able to further their relationship. Just thinking about it made Zheng Shiding a little excited. It's none of your business. Ling Qinyu didn't want to talk too much, so she casually dismissed him. Oh. If you need anything, remember to call me. I, Michael Zheng, am willing to be of service to Senior Beauty Ling at any time. Zheng Shiding elegantly bowed to Ling Qinyu like a gentleman. No need, I don't need your help. Ling Qinyu felt that Zheng Shiding was a bit like an annoying fly, so she directly rejected him. Zheng Shiding's expression froze. He was very depressed. Ling Qinyu already lost her dance partner, so why wasn't she anxious? He came to help out of goodwill, but she didn't even want to say anything. Seeing that Ling Qinyu had already turned around, Zheng Shiding decided to make it clearer and hinted, Qinyu, do you know? Actually, I'm also very good at national ballroom dancing. I even won an award before. Zheng Shiding didn't lie about this. As a child of a big family, he was forced to learn at least one or two talents from a young age so that he could use them to support his appearance in social events. Chapter 932. Oh. Got it. Ling Qinyu nodded absent-mindedly. She didn't listen to Zheng Shiding's words at all. Her mind was thinking about who she should find to save the day. Then. I will leave first. Remember to call me if you need anything. Seeing that Ling Qinyu didn't respond to his attentiveness, Jing Shiding felt helpless. He forced a smile and slowly left the backstage. Ling Qinyu frowned. She was only familiar with Qing Yao Yao in the school. She hurriedly took out her phone and called her. Yao Yao, where are you? Can you come to the auditorium and help me? Ling Qinyu asked anxiously after the phone was connected. I am at the auditorium. Today the ancient martial arts department will perform on the stage. I am helping them prepare. What's wrong? Qing Menjing was surprised. She didn't know why Ling Qinyu suddenly called her. Ah, you are here. That's great. My dance partner suddenly can't come. So I am looking for you to replace her. Ling Qinyu let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Qing Menjing was nearby. Otherwise, it would take a long time for her to get here. I don't know how to dance. Moreover, the ancient martial arts department's performance is about to start. I need to do makeup for them. I can't leave. Qing Menjing was stunned. She could only reject after she realized it. She didn't dare to dance on the stage. The entire performance of the art festival was recorded. Xiaochen told her before that the illusion was useless against electronic cameras. So if she went on the stage, she would be exposed. Ling Qinyu didn't expect Qing Menjing to reject her. She was anxious. Just when she wanted to persuade her again, she suddenly thought of someone. She quickly asked, "Oh yeah, does your boyfriend know how to dance? I am really anxious. I can't go on the stage now. Can you ask him?" Ah. Qing Menjing was stunned. But she could tell that Ling Qinyu was anxious. So she said, "Wait for a moment. I will help you ask him." On the other side of the phone, Qing Menjing communicated with Xiaochen. She told him the situation. Xiaochen agreed without hesitation. After all, Ling Qinyu was Bureau Chief Ling's granddaughter, so he could still help her with this small favor. Moreover, because he was going to perform on stage, he had already put on makeup in advance. This way, he didn't need to use his yuan qi to disguise himself, so he was naturally not afraid of being exposed in front of the camera. "Qianyu," Xiao Yi agreed. "We're backstage in room 3, where are you?" "I'll let him go right away." After getting a positive answer, Qing Menjing asked. "I'm in room 1. Thank you so much. I'll treat you to a meal later." Ling Qinyu was overjoyed. After putting down the phone, she let out a long sigh of relief. Her heart that had been hanging in the air was finally at ease. A few minutes later, Xiaochen came to room 1 and found Ling Qinyu. He smiled and comforted, "Senior Sister Qinyu, I understand everything. Just tell me what you want me to do." Seeing that it was Xiao Yi, Ling Qinyu's expression relaxed a lot. She nodded and said, "Time is of the essence. Let's go change first. There are dance clothes for male dancers over there. Go and pick a size." "Okay." Xiaochen nodded and went to the changing room. Ling Qinyu also went to another changing room to change. Xiaochen quickly changed his clothes and stood outside, waiting for Ling Qinyu. After a while, Ling Qinyu opened the door and walked out with a crash. Seeing Ling Qinyu's outfit today, Xiaochen couldn't help but take a deep breath. Ling Qinyu was wearing an elegant purple evening gown with a large V-neck and a backless dress that hung down to her waist. It made her exquisite figure and fair skin look extremely beautiful. Even Xiaochen, who was experienced and knowledgeable, was momentarily dumbfounded. "Don't just stand there. Do you know ballroom dancing?" Ling Qinyu frowned. Looking at Xiao Yi's pig face, she didn't have the mood to scold him. After all, she was counting on him to save the situation. "No, I've never learned those." Xiaochen scratched his head in embarrassment. "Ah. Then try to cooperate with me later. Just pretend to be a supporting character. I'll be responsible for the main dance." Ling Qinyu had already expected this. Although she was helpless, there was nothing she could do. Having Xiao Yi dance with her was better than that annoying Jing Shiding. Oh, there's no need for that. Just go through it first, and I'll learn it after watching it. Or if there's any tutorial video, you can show it to me. I can learn it on the spot, Xiao Chen said casually with a shrug. Xiao Chen wasn't bragging. Although he didn't know how to dance, he was still an awesome cultivator. With this foundation, he could learn anything quickly. As long as he had some reference, he could learn it in minutes. Do you think you have magical powers? You can learn it after learning it once? Plus, it's already so late. Where am I going to find a video for you to watch? Ling Qinyu was amused by Xiao Chen. However, she didn't refuse. Even if she let Xiao Chen be a supporting character, the two of them had to quickly rehearse it. Even if it wasn't quick, it would still shine. Ling Qinyu led Xiao Chen to practice once. Although Xiao Chen was clumsy, stepping on her feet a few times and stumbling a little when he jumped, he could be considered to have learned it well. In the eyes of professionals, Xiao Chen's dance was terrible. However, if it was used to fool those who didn't know anything, it wouldn't be a problem. Moreover, it was obvious that the boys below the stage were here to watch Ling Qinyu. Even if Xiao Chen were to stand there without moving, they wouldn't care. As long as Ling Qinyu danced beautifully, it would be a feast for their eyes. When you get on the stage, just follow my steps. Don't move. Even if you're wrong, just keep calm and follow closely again. Understand? Ling Qinyu said solemnly. Okay, I understand. Xiao Chen nodded. Ling Qinyu took a deep breath and led Xiao Chen to the waiting area. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. Next. This is one of the highlights of this year's art festival. Ling Qinyu and her friends will perform the ballroom dance. Please give your warmest applause to welcome Ling Qinyu on the stage. On the stage, the host held the microphone and announced Ling Qinyu's performance with great emotion. The emotions that the guys in the audience had accumulated for a whole night suddenly exploded. Many people stood in their seats excitedly and shouted Ling Qinyu's name. The atmosphere instantly reached a climax. We're ready to go on the stage. Don't be too nervous. Remember what I said just now. Ling Qinyu heard the tsunami of cheers from the front stage. She subconsciously became nervous and pretended to be calm. However, her intermittent tone revealed that she was actually more nervous than Xiao Chen. Chapter 933. Oh, don't worry, I'll do as you say. Xiao Chen smiled easily. He could feel sweat on the tip of Ling Qinyu's nose, but he didn't expose her. The two waited for a while, and when they saw the MC waving at them, they slowly walked up to the stage. Ling Qinyu's clothes were more light, her black hair cascading down like a waterfall, and she had light makeup on her face. Although it was just a simple application of powder and lip gloss, she was already very pretty. The simple makeup, coupled with the illumination of the stage lights, made her look even more beautiful, and immediately attracted the excited howls of many boys below the stage. She's really the campus belle, so beautiful. Ling Qinyu is the best. Yeah. If only she was my girlfriend, she's so beautiful. In your dreams. How could Ling Qinyu like you? Go back and masturbate, young man. Stop talking about me. Look at the stage. Who is that kid? Is he the dance partner of the campus belle? How can someone so ugly go up on stage? That's right, this contrast is too big. At least a handsome guy like me can. Aya, don't hit me, I know I'm wrong. When Ling Qinyu and Xiao Chen went up on stage, the cheers from the audience didn't stop for a long time. However, as the melodious music started, and the two of them got ready for the dance, the audience shut their mouths and stared at Ling Qinyu's moving dance with widened eyes. However, compared to the fanatical and infatuated gazes of most people, there was a pair of eyes in the crowd that was staring fiercely at Xiao Chen. His eyes were filled with anger, and it looked like he couldn't wait to rush up to the stage and strangle Xiao Chen to death. What the hell? Why is it this kid again? What the hell is this bastard doing? He really knows how to be a busybody. Zheng Shiding clenched his fists tightly. He was so angry that his hair was about to stand on end, and his heart was filled with anger. However, he also knew that today's performance had nothing to do with him. Zheng Shiding had originally wanted to use the opportunity of changing partners to kiss Ling Qinyu. In the end, after spending a lot of effort, money, and connections, he didn't expect that in the end, he would only end up as a spectator. Watching Ling Qinyu dance gracefully on the stage, Zheng Shiding felt a nameless fire that he couldn't vent. He picked up his phone and called Ling Qinyu's female dance partner, telling her to come to the dormitory immediately to get the money. Then, he gave Xiao Chen a few more vicious glances, turned around, and left. Back in the dormitory, Zheng Shiding first took a shower. Just as he put on his clothes, the girl knocked on the door. Zheng Shiding brought her in and closed the door. Without further ado, he took out a stack of money and handed it to her. "Thank you, young Master Zheng. Is there anything else?" "If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first." The girl held the money in her hand and asked cautiously. She had long heard of Zheng Shiding's character, so she did not dare to stay alone with him for too long. "What's the hurry? Come and chat with me for a while. You have nothing to do when you get back anyway." Zheng Shiding sat on the sofa arrogantly and waved at the girl, gesturing for her to sit next to him. "I have an appointment with my roommate. We'll go for supper later." "I'd better not waste your precious time," the girl said weakly and moved back with small steps. She could tell that Zheng Shiding was up to no good. She wanted to get away as soon as possible. F***ck, this young master asked you to stay, and you still dare to leave? Zheng Shiding was very displeased. He had already suffered a setback at Ling Qinyu's place tonight. He was just about to find a girl to vent his anger on, but he did not expect the girl in front of him to be so insensible. He simply rushed up, grabbed the girl, and forced her down on the sofa. "Ah!" The girl was shocked and cried out in surprise. She kept struggling, but she was too weak and could not break free from Zheng Shiding's embrace. In a panic, she begged for mercy. Young Master Zheng, don't do this. I'm still a virgin. My body needs to be reserved for my boyfriend, don't talk nonsense. You took my money and you want to leave so easily? Do you think money is so easy to earn? Today, I'm going to break you." Zheng Shiding pressed the girl's arms with his left hand, and skillfully unzipped his pants with his right hand. Then, he pulled down the girl's pants. Sob, sob, sob. "Young Master Zheng, please let me go." The girl was scared out of her wits. She struggled and cried. However, the girl's fierce resistance and tears of pleading aroused Zheng Shiding's desire even more. He panted heavily and was about to mount her when he suddenly smelled a thick smell of blood. He couldn't help but stop and look down in confusion. What the F***ck? What's going on? Seeing the scene in front of him, Zheng Shiding was shocked. The girl's underwear was full of blood. It was a frightening red. Zheng Shiding was a little confused. He had not entered yet, had he? Why was there blood? I'm on my period today, sob, sob, sob. The girl explained while crying. "What did you say?" Zheng Shiding's eyes widened. His face was full of disbelief as he stared at the girl in a daze. While Zheng Shiding was in a daze, the girl pushed him down on the sofa and broke free from his control. She hurriedly put on her pants, covered her face, and ran out of the dormitory like she was escaping. She slammed the door with a bang. After being stunned for a while, Zheng Shiding came back to his senses. He was so angry that he almost fainted. This girl happened to be on her period? In other words, he had wasted a sum of money on her disguise? Most importantly, not only did he waste the money, he could not even fulfill his wish. This was too much of a scam. Damn it, it's all that Xiao Yi's fault. I couldn't dance with Ling Qianyu, and he even caused such a thing. Zheng Shiding was so angry that he trembled. He fiercely said to himself, "Stupid loser, how dare you steal my woman? I'll find a chance to teach you a lesson someday. Zhang Shiding swung his fist and slammed it on the table next to him. The table immediately fell apart with a loud bang. Inside the auditorium, Xiao Yi and Ling Qinyu were still dancing on the stage. Ling Qinyu was very nervous. She was afraid that this guy would make a fool of himself and get kicked off the stage. So in the beginning, she focused all her attention on Xiao Yi. As a result, she kept making mistakes and almost fell. Luckily, Xiao Yi caught her in time and resolved the crisis. However, as they danced, Ling Qinyu gradually noticed something strange. Not only did Xiao Yi not make mistakes, he danced unexpectedly well. In the end, Xiao Yi took the lead and danced with Ling Qinyu. This made her very shocked. Chapter 934. The more they danced, the more Ling Qinyu felt that even though the person in front of her was average-looking, his dancing skills were really good. Even though they had only rehearsed once, every movement and step of his had the demeanor of an international celebrity. He didn't look like a beginner at ballroom dancing at all. Moreover, his elegant movements and smooth dance steps made Xiao Yi's originally ordinary appearance shine with a layer of brilliance, giving him an indescribably charming temperament. As the audience watched, they gradually calmed down. The boos and curses lessened and were replaced by envious gazes. Even though they didn't understand ballroom dancing, Xiao Yi's graceful dance and Ling Qinyu's beautiful appearance complemented each other. Even those who didn't understand ballroom dancing found it pleasing to the eye. In the end, many girls stared at Xiao Yi as if they were infatuated with him. They even cheered and screamed. After the two of them performed a highly difficult maneuver, the background music suddenly stopped, and Xiao Chen and Ling Qinyu's performance came to an end. The two of them walked to the front of the stage for a curtain call, and the students below the stage all stood up and gave them a warm round of applause, expressing their admiration for them. I didn't know that you were so good at pretending. You're so good at dancing, but you have to pretend that you don't know. After they got off the stage and returned to room 1, Ling Qinyu glared at Xiao Chen and said unhappily, I'm not pretending. Didn't I tell you that I'm a fast learner? I only need to watch once or twice to master it. Xiao Chen explained helplessly as he followed Ling Qinyu out of the room. Xiao Chen also understood that Ling Qinyu had doubts in her heart. After all, he had danced so well that she almost became a supporting character. Only a ghost would believe you. You have a glib tongue and never speak a word of truth. No wonder you were able to trick the two girls into falling head over heels for you and make them follow you willingly. But I won't fall for it, save it. Ling Qinyu curled her lips and glared at Xiao Chen. She was a little angry in her heart. She hated liars the most. This Xiao Chen was not only a womanizer, but also a two-timer. Now, he was even pretending to deceive her. Ling Qinyu hated him even more. Xiao Chen was speechless. Miss and Ling Qinxue were both willing. He didn't lie to them. Why did Ling Qinyu make it sound like he was a scammer? Alright, now that the performance is over, don't follow me. Such a dishonest person, I really don't know what Yao Yao likes about you. Ling Qinyu quickened her pace and turned around to look at Xiao Chen with disdain. She muttered, I hate guys like you who can pretend the most. It's not like I want you to like me. Besides, this path is the only way to room 3. If we don't take this path, how else can we go back? How ridiculous. Xiao Chen heard every single word that Ling Qinyu said. He was a little angry and retorted stiffly. He felt that Ling Qinyu's attitude had changed a little too quickly. Just now, when she needed his help, she begged and begged young miss to help her out of goodwill. In the end, after the performance ended, she turned her back on him. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have helped her. She caused so much trouble for no reason. Ling Qinyu was stunned. She was also confused by Xiao Chen. Before, she was worried that the performance would be messed up. But this guy in front of her was obviously good at dancing, but he didn't tell her in advance. He even said he didn't know how to dance. She was so worried and almost made a fool out of herself. But when she calmed down and thought about it, Ling Qianyu felt that her words were a little harsh. So she softened her tone and said to Xiao Chen, "But thank you. I can see, Yao Yao likes you very much, you don't let her down. As for that Ling Xiaoxue, you can't handle her. She's not an ordinary girl. I advise you to leave as soon as possible. It'll only be good for you. Thank you for your kindness. But if I let her go, do you think I'll come looking for you?" Xiao Chen looked at Ling Qianyu and joked. Xiao Chen knew that Ling Qianyu wasn't a bad person. She was just a little stubborn. He was like this when he was protecting her. Now that he was Xiao Yi, he was still like this. If you don't listen, then do whatever you want. I can't be bothered with you. You don't know how to appreciate my kindness. Ling Qianyu rolled her eyes and quickened her steps to get away from Xiao Chen. She walked toward the exit of the backstage. She was going to turn around the corner and go to the auditorium to watch the rest of the performance. Xiao Chen smiled helplessly. He was used to Ling Qianyu's personality, so he didn't mind. He turned around and entered room 3, the gala continued. The popularity of Ling Qianyu's dance hadn't died down yet, so the audience was in high spirits. They were looking forward to the performance of the new campus belle, Su Chuxia. However, the school knew what the audience was thinking, so they purposely arranged Su Chuxia's performance at the end. It was equivalent to the finale, so that the audience could continue to enjoy the performance instead of leaving after watching the two campus belles' performances. Su Chuxia's performance was a love song duet with a guy from the faculty who wasn't very outstanding but had a good voice. However, while she was waiting backstage, she received an unexpected piece of news. The guy who sang the duet called and said that his father suddenly fell seriously ill and was rushing to the hospital. He couldn't participate in the performance, so he asked Su Chuxia to find someone else to replace him. Su Chuxia was dumbfounded. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Why did he have to fall sick right before the performance? It would be her turn in a few more performances. Where was she supposed to find someone else in such a short time? Chuxia, why are you spacing out here alone? Your performance is the finale of the night. Are you ready? Where's the partner who's going to perform with you? A man's voice suddenly sounded, and Su Chuxia turned around to see that it was Shui Gao. Although he looked calm, Shui Gao was actually very pleased. He waited backstage for the whole night, and finally, Su Chuxia received a call. As expected, after she put down the phone, her expression changed. Actually, this love song duet was arranged by Shui Gao, and the boy was also threatened by him, so he voluntarily gave up on the performance and lied to Su Chuxia. Otherwise, who wouldn't want to perform with the new school belle on the same stage as her? He can't make it. Su Chuxia stammered. Suddenly, she turned around and walked backstage. As she walked, she said, "If that's the case, I'll cancel my performance. Since I don't have a partner now, and I can't perform the duet alone, I'll let the production team know." Chapter 935. Su Chuxia suddenly realized that it might be a good thing that her partner couldn't come. She didn't want to perform on stage anyway, so she could take this opportunity to cancel the show. Don't. You can't cancel it. It'll be embarrassing for our faculty if you cancel it. I'm still here, right? Since that kid can't come, let's Senior Ice Cream take his place. Shui Gao was shocked. He quickly stopped Su Chuxia and recommended himself. If Su Chuxia canceled the show, wouldn't all his plans go to waste? Su Chuxia was stunned. She looked at Shui Gao in surprise. Did she hear wrong? How could this person be so shameless? Shui Gao didn't know what Su Chuxia was thinking. He struck a pose, tossed his hair, and said proudly, "Don't doubt me. You should know that I'm the famous prince of love songs in Lon University. There's no love song that I can't sing. Besides, Senior, you look so much more handsome than that kid, don't you? You and your temperament are a perfect match. When you go on stage, you'll definitely cause a sensation." Su Chuxia looked troubled. Shui Gao is so thick-skinned, she thought to herself. He clearly looked like a delicate little man, yet he thought he was very handsome. It was simply disgusting. Go where it's cool, and stay there. My Chusha has a spare tire partner. You can line up from here to the school gate 3 times. Since when does a skinny heavy smoker like you have a turn? A lovable shout rang out. Tian Wangchuan suddenly appeared and pushed Shui Gao, causing him to stagger. Her face was full of ridicule. You. Shui Gao pointed at Tian Wangchuan angrily. He wanted to curse, but he was worried about his image. He took a few deep breaths and pretended to be calm as he sat on a chair. He was pissed. Why does this brat always mess things up? Even though he was scolded, Shui Gao didn't say anything. He wanted to see who else dared to be her partner other than him. If you can't find him, you'll still have to beg me. Shui Gao had secretly investigated Su Chusha a long time ago. Su Chusha didn't have any spare tires in school. She didn't even have many friends. However, he wasn't stupid enough to say it out loud and arouse Su Chusha's suspicion. Wangchuan, stop messing around. If it doesn't work, I'll go up and sing by myself. Su Chusha glared at Tian Suruan. Tian Suruan was her best partner, but he didn't dare to go on stage. Don't be anxious. Let Sour Sister think about it. Tian Soran held her chin and narrowed her eyes in thought. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. She clapped her hands and said with a smile, "That's right. Aren't we on good terms with that guy? Why don't we find him? He's better than that heavy smoker, isn't he? Counterattack man? Who is it?" Su Chusha was confused. She blinked her eyes in confusion. She couldn't remember when she had met this person. It's Qing Yao Yao's boyfriend. The guy who counterattacked Ling Xiaoxue. He's called Xiao. Xiao something? Tian Sour scratched her head. She couldn't think of Xiao Yi's name for a long time. Instead, she thought of Xiao Chang. She wondered how Sister Sour's boyfriend was doing. Are you talking about Xiao Yi? Could he do it? I don't think he can sing. Su Chusha hesitated. What if Xiao Yi was tone deaf? Then wouldn't it be embarrassing for her to sing with him on stage? This guy must have some skills to be able to counterattack Ling Xiaoxue successfully. Don't worry, Sour Sister will take care of it for you. Leave it to me. Tian Sour patted his chest heroically, then picked up his phone to make a call and briefly explained the situation to Xiao Chen. When Xiao Chen heard this, he knew he couldn't refuse. He had already promised Ling Qinyu, so there was no reason to refuse Su Chusha. So, he agreed without hesitation. However, Su Chusha's love song duet was the finale of the gala. He had to finish the martial arts club's performance first. Chusha, look, Sister Sour Sour only said a few words and she easily took care of that man. He'll be here soon. Tian Sour Sour put away his phone proudly. Soran, aren't you being too rash? Did you ask Xiao Yi if he can sing? Don't embarrass yourself. Su Chusha was worried. Don't worry. Tian Sour pointed at Shui Gao and comforted him, think about it. Even that heavy smoker can sing, so I'm sure counterattack guy can't be any worse. Besides, when the time comes, those loser boys will be head over heels for you. Who will care if he can sing well or not? Trust Sour Sister. This is a world that only cares about appearances. Shui Gao, who was sitting at the side, was furious. He didn't expect that there would be someone who dared to steal his business. What's more, Tian Wangchuan had conveniently ridiculed him. Even though he was lying down, he still got shot. Shui Gao secretly remembered Xiao Yi's name in his heart. Then, he pretended to be relaxed as he stood up. He walked a bit further away and secretly called his attendant. He planned to investigate Xiao Yi's background before the show started. Young Master Shui, is there anything you need me to do? Shui Gao's follower, Ma Xiaochang, quickly ran backstage and asked respectfully. Go investigate someone, his name is Xiao Yi. Find out who he is. Damn it, he actually dared to snatch this young master's woman. I think he must be tired of living. Shui Gao ordered expressionlessly. Xiao Yi. Ma Xiao Cheng repeated Xiao Yi's name a few times. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. I remember. That Xiao Yi is the guy who danced with Ling Qinyu earlier. I was wondering why his name sounded so familiar. Damn it, he's really asking for a beating. Since he dared to snatch my girl, he better not be afraid of the consequences. Shui Gao was even more furious. Such a good flower had been taken by a dog. He had already taken advantage of Ling Qinyu, and he still dared to have designs on Su Chuxia. Did he really think he was an A-list celebrity? Shui Gao had already forgotten that it was Tian Soran who had taken the initiative to look for Xiao Chen. At this time, his heart was burning with anger. He laughed coldly and said, Xiao Cheng, I want to cripple that Xiao Yi. Go gather people immediately. Oh, no problem. When do we do it? Ma Xiao Cheng nodded. It wasn't the first time young Master Shui wanted to cripple someone. He was already used to it. Now. Immediately. It's best if we can beat him until he can't even take care of himself. I want to see who else dares to snatch Su Chuxia from me. Shui Gao said fiercely. Do it here? Ma Xiao Cheng was taken aback, and hesitated. Young Master Shui, we aren't prepared yet. Furthermore, it's not good to beat someone up in the school grounds, right? If the school finds out, I'm afraid we won't be able to bear the consequences. Chapter 936. Ma Xiao Cheng's worry was not without reason. After all, the people who hung out with him were all students. If a fight broke out in an art festival, even Shui Gao would not be able to escape from the school's investigation. Don't you know any people from the streets outside of school? At most, I'll just spend some money. As long as I can settle Xiao Yi, I don't care how much it costs. Shui Gao frowned and asked. This. Ma Xiao Cheng pondered for a while, then slapped his thigh and said, right. Brother Wei seems to know a lot of hoodlums outside of school. A few days ago, I was drinking with his underlings, and they mentioned it. Brother Wei? Shui Gao was stunned, and a name appeared in his mind. He said disdainfully, You're talking about Du Rongwei, right? TSK, seems like he's doing well, even becoming a big brother. Yes, that's him. I heard that he recently became the disciple of a karate master, a person from the streets. And he's really awesome, he even trampled on the president and vice president of some martial arts club. Ma Xiao Cheng nodded. Oh, all right. Then find him for help. After it's done, I won't mistreat him. Shui Gao and Du Rongwei did not have any grudges, so he readily agreed. Since he could find someone from outside of school to make a move, it couldn't be better. Even if he was found out, it didn't matter as long as he didn't implicate himself. All right, I'll contact him now. Ma Xiao Cheng took out his phone and dialed Du Rongwei's number. In the auditorium, the red-haired guy and the young ninja had also come today. They ate, drank, and played outside every day, and after a while, they started to feel bored. Since the Jia family's two spendthrifts were constantly giving them money, the red-haired guy and the rest were instructed to keep a low profile, so they usually had nothing to do, and only needed to spend money and have fun. This time, when they heard that there was an art festival in Lan City University, they followed Du Rongwei to see if there were any beauties performing, so they could enjoy it. At the same time, the red-haired guy and the young ninja were hoping to hook up with a few innocent female students. Recently, they were a little tired of playing with young models, so they wanted to change their tastes. Du Rongwei, let me ask you. The beauty who performed the ballroom dance on stage was called Ling Yu or something. Do you have any contact with her? Help me get one, I want to treat her to a meal, and then, hee. Red Hair said to Du Rongwei with an evil smile. I don't have that. But I heard that Ling Qinyu has a powerful background. Her grandfather seems to be the person in charge of some mysterious department. I think it might be a little difficult to ask her out for a meal. Du Rongwei's expression was a little hesitant as he stammered. Back then, he also had thoughts about the campus belle, Ling Qinyu, but after investigating her background, he tactfully backed off. I told you to investigate, so just do it. How could he be so stupid? No matter how powerful the people of the secular world were, could they be more powerful than the masters of the martial arts world? We now have the support of those two experts. Even if that chick's grandfather is from some mysterious department, we'll still make him obedient. Red Hair glared at Du Rongwei and lectured him in exasperation. Oh right. How could I forget about those two experts? Okay, I'll investigate now. Du Rongwei's eyes lit up as he nodded. He took out his phone and was about to call his underling, but before he could press the button, his phone suddenly rang. Looking at the number displayed on the screen, Du Rongwei was a little confused. Ma Xiaochang. This guy usually hangs out with his underling, why is he looking for me? However, Du Rongwei still pressed the button to accept the call. Hello, Ma Xiaochang, what's the matter? Brother Wei, it's like this. Our young master Shui wants to ask you for a favor, to let someone suffer a little. Where are you now? If it's convenient, we'll go over and talk to you. Ma Xiaochang asked. The background was a little noisy. Oh, I'm watching a performance in the auditorium, you guys come over and look for me. I'm in section B, row 6. Du Rongwei agreed, but he was a little puzzled. Shui Gao had some ability in school, and they usually minded their own business. Why did he suddenly want to ask for help? Since he couldn't think of a reason, Du Rongwei was too lazy to think about it. After hanging up the phone, he sent a message to his underling, asking him to check which dormitory Ling Qinyu was staying at and what her phone number was. Not long after, Ma Xiaochang led Shui Gao from the backstage to the auditorium. Due to the strong lights on the stage, it caused the audience to look dark. The two of them searched for a long time, bumping into and stepping on countless people in the audience, causing a lot of complaints. Finally, they arrived in front of Du Rongwei and the rest. Yo, Rongwei, I heard that you've been doing well recently. You've even become the leader of the student market. Looks like I'll need your help in the future. Ma Xiaochang first went forward to greet them, and when Du Rongwei and the rest looked over, Ma Xiaochang walked over with a smile and greeted them. Although Shui Gao had always been disdainful of Du Rongwei, who only knew how to fight and kill, since he had a favor to ask, he still had to be polite. This little bit of face was a piece of cake for him. Young Master Shui overpraises me, I just found a good boss. Du Rongwei chuckled, satisfied with Shui Gao's flattery. He then pointed to Red Hair beside him and said, This is my boss, Brother Red Hair. I'm working with him now. If you have anything to ask, just say it. As long as the price is reasonable, everything can be discussed. Red Hair nodded slightly at Shui Gao as a form of greeting. Seeing Red Hair's cold and arrogant expression, Shui Gao did not mind and explained simply, It's like this, I just want to ask for your help to teach someone a lesson. His name is Xiao Yi. Turning around, Shui Gao pointed to Xiao Qin, who was moving bricks onto the stage. He gritted his teeth and said, Look, it's that brat. As long as you can beat him until he's crippled, no matter how much money, I'll pay. Du Rongwei followed Shui Gao's finger and looked towards the stage. In the end, he saw Xiao Qin and Wang Jingtian busy on the stage. It turned out that the previous performance had already ended, and the two of them were preparing the props for the next performance. Seeing Wang Jingtian, Du Rongwei was shocked. He did not expect that the person Shui Gao wanted to deal with was actually from the martial arts club. He immediately panicked. Although this guy called Xiao Yi by Shui Gao looked like a weakling, he had the backing of the martial arts club. If he taught him a lesson, wouldn't it be the same as offending the martial arts club? Thinking up to this point, Du Rongwei looked at Red Hair anxiously, wanting to see if he had any instructions. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.